What's up? Good morning, everybody. How's everyone doing this morning? Welcome in. Good morning. Crystal, Trader Pips, Alessandro, Dan, Gohar Ali. Good morning, guys. Good morning, good morning. Francisco, what's up, man? Alden, good morning. Lockdown, hey, what's up? Marine Blue, good morning, good morning. Doing good. Teddy, good morning. What's up? Lots of familiar names in here. Hope you guys are having a good week so far. Man, this has been a interesting week, has it not? Interesting week for sure. Go Goo Trades, what's up, man? Always in. Nice to see you. Good to see you, good to see you. I guess I should stop and check really quick. You guys hear me and see me on the stream? All good, sweet, thanks. If you guys aren't aware, Chart Fanatics has a great Discord. So if you'd like a lot of free resources and stuff, check that out. If you guys could share the link to the Discord. I already shared my game plan with my exact levels, scenarios that I'm watching out for to trade today. So if you haven't seen that already, I recommend heading over to the Chart Fanatics Discord and to the Matt Owen channel. I shared that in there today. So you guys can check that out, as well as any kind of analysis that I share throughout the day. I like to make little screenshots and scribbles on them to talk through what I'm watching. I'll drop those screenshots for you guys to review if you're interested in there. So just giving you a heads up now to go ahead and join in there if you're not already in there. We'll start getting into the analysis here in just a moment, but first, a huge shout out to our sponsors here on the Chart Fanatics channel, TradeZella. Check out CF20 code for 20% off your subscription there. There's a lot of work that makes these streams happen for you guys, and that's made possible by these sponsors. Apex still running 90% off, so no better time to grab those accounts if you are leveraging prop firms. Again, check out the code there, prop firm trader as well. And Funded Next. And speaking of those, we have accounts to give away today. Let me check really quick. Yeah, we have Apex, Funded Next, and Alpha Capital accounts that we will be giving away during the stream today. So make sure you stay tuned and make sure you're actively participating, right? Active participants tend to get rewarded. If you guys have great questions throughout the stream, make sure you drop them in the chat. I try to make the streams educational focused, so to give you guys as much value as possible, help you learn. I personally primarily trade the S&P. If you're new to my streams here, I trade ES and SPY. I also trade NQ and QQQ, but primarily an S&P trader. What we're looking at on my screens is the order flow on Bookmap. This is my favorite order flow analysis tool. I'll also drop charts on screen as we talk about stuff as it's relevant. What's up? What's up? SMB Financial. Got me for a second. Alina, good morning. Tannis, what's up? How did I start trading? I pretty much started trading actually more based on fundamentals and some basic supply and demand. And I was more swing trading from around 2016 to 2020. So had a lot of success early on with that, and then got into more short-term, higher leverage trading options and futures intraday, and World of Pain started for a couple years with that. But anytime you shrink the time horizon in trading, I think you exponentially increase the difficulty, right? So there's a lot of opportunity with higher leverage and shorter time horizons, but there's also a lot of risks and danger, especially for newer traders. So need to be mindful of that. So we'll talk through my game plan and what I'm watching out for here this morning. Essentially, we had a really large rally all week that kind of continued move that already started last Wednesday. And then yesterday, this was not on my cards. I was possibly watching out for a breakdown on ES if we broke under the 7,000 level, but I was not expecting that large of a breakdown that we had yesterday. I missed that move, in all fairness, in all honesty. However, I did catch longs at pretty much the low of the day, around 6,900. So that was nice yesterday. But anyway, just to put into context, right? We had some key areas of demand that we have rallied off of and had an extended rally all week. Broke all-time highs and rejected really hard all the way back down. And now we're kind of in the middle. A lot of gold traders got smashed. Yeah, I trade, Gavin, good question. I trade both mean reversions and I also trade kind of trending moves, continuation. I have a few different setups depending on the conditions, right? So speaking of, I don't really have a very directional play so far today, right? That may happen, right? Anything can happen. I don't know. I don't try to predict too much. I just go with the flow, the order flow, no pun intended. But I have some scenarios that I'm watching out for. And essentially what the scenarios are both revolving around, we just have a large kind of balance range here. It's not a super clean balance range by any means. We've kind of chopped up and down, but we have a lot of volume built on ES and NQ kind of at the lows of the range. Buyers have done a good job. They held another higher low dip overnight. So let me pull up my charts here. So start talking about this. Again, if you want to see the details of my write-up for trade plan today, check out that in the Chart Fanatics Discord under the Matt Owen channel. But we have this area here where we obviously have kind of a low volume node that we sold through. We had an amazing recovery yesterday, which was awesome, and then chopped back down through it. But we never really filled in too much volume there, at least during regular trading hours yesterday. And that's also kind of the top of this range where we had all this volume built here, right there. And then again, all this volume built here overnight. So I'm watching out for essentially that area, right? See all that volume built there. Again, this is a 30-minute chart on ES futures, S&P. And so at the lows here, we see another low volume node there, small, but oops, look at that. And no coincidence, we dropped there and bounced again overnight right there. Got a little under it, recaptured it quickly, shot right back up. So inside here is kind of a danger zone for me. There's not a ton of edge that I see in here. Yeah, Air23 asked, can you share your volume profile settings? If everybody smashes the like button here, I'll share my volume profile settings. This is on Trade of 8 as well. If everybody smashes the like button, I'll share my volume profile settings here on Trade of 8. So let me get through the analysis first really quick. So this is this range on the S&P that I'm watching out for. And so when we have a range like this, I'm first kind of just watching for fake outs at the highs and lows, just kind of targeting, quick scalp back towards the middle of the range, right? So I'm kind of watching out for that first this morning, with a slight favor leaning a little more bullish, I guess you could say. If we get a strong break over this and we see really strong buying and passive and aggressive buyers defending that, then I may look to, long a break and retest over that. Probably just targeting these prior highs right here from yesterday, around 7,000. That's been a key level. And if we blast through that, then this area where we consolidated and then sold off from yesterday morning will be a next target up here in the 70.15s to 70.30s, right? Ugh. Right, so that's an interesting area up there. To the downside, if we break down 6,900 and we break down under this, first, I guess I would be just looking at prior lows. If I see a ton of weakness here, breaking and holding under that, I would probably scalp that, just targeting prior lows. I'm really cautious with that though. We've just seen a ton of fake out drops that just immediately do this that they did yesterday. So I'm really, really hesitant on shorting lows in the market conditions we've seen the last few years. More often than not, I do not short lows. And when we have a day like yesterday, if I don't catch it early on, I just sit back and wait until something changes, right? And that's what I did yesterday. I did not catch this downside move. However, I did catch longs down at the lows off 6,900. Drop this in here if anyone wants to review that. We do have some news coming out. What is that? PMI? Sorry. Bless me. Sorry, guys. So let me check. The news here is, Chicago PMI coming out at 945. So that can definitely spark some volatility. So we've had a pretty big up and down week already. It's Friday. We're kind of in the middle. Trump announcing he's trying to appoint a new chair to the Fed. So that, anytime stuff comes out between Jerome Powell and President Trump, it can spark some madness and volatility in the market. All right, so that's ES. Let's check out NQ. Pretty similar stuff. So similarly, you see where all this volume is built at the highs here around 25.9, and then at the lows here around 25.7. So similar to ES, inside of that is a danger zone for me where I'm like, really, I'm not saying if something incredible sets up, I won't, scalp it or something, but can't really see that either. Inside of this is kind of be careful zone, don't touch it zone in the middle. We can see this low volume area that we sold through yesterday. We did have a nice pop up point of control there yesterday, rejected back down, and then once we were back under this, you can see how we retested and dropped back under that again. So similarly, I'm watching out for this range first. If we have failed breaks above or below, I'm watching out to scalp kind of mean reversions back into the middle of that. And then, if we break out and we get a lot of strength above, right, then I may look to take that for a break and retest type setup, targeting this area here. So we have this low volume area where we sold off from yesterday, those prior lows. So what is that? Around, 26,000 up to 26,100. That area there would be the first next major key area of interest. We also have this area here where there was a lot of volume. Oh, that is 26,000 right there. That's right. So any of those areas, if I see a strong break and retest hold with good confirmations, then I'll watch out for that. But again, once we have something like this set up, I'm first watching out for fake outs and mean reversions. I need to see strong evidence and proof we're breaking out and holding. To the downside, again, if I see, you know, very strong weakness under here, have those lows. That's like just the nearest, you know, there's more levels we could pull up and stuff, but those are just the nearest key things that I'm watching. Does that make sense, guys? Yeah, that was the volume profile for the whole session. So for my settings, if you want, first of all, on my YouTube channel for totally for free, I have a free video going over my whole Tradeovate volume profile settings. But if you go into the indicators tab on Tradeovate and you click on the free indicators, there's a volume profiles indicator, and you can add that to your chart. And then if you want to see my exact settings, here it is. That's for NQ. I'll drop that in the Chart Fanatics Discord there. Leave it up for a second. And then these are my settings for ES. Again, in the Chart Fanatics Discord there for you guys. Sound good? All right, let me see what questions I miss. Look at session volume profile for the whole day volume profile or the session? Both. On my main charts, like my 30-minute charts, I have the full day volume profile up. But then here on Bookmap, you can see I also have just the session volume profile, and this depth of market tool, this clears out at 9:30. So I'm just looking at the regular trading hour session. So I have, this is another volume profile here for the session. And then I also have the session volume profile on my footprint charts. If you want to see my whole setup for footprint charts on Tradeovate, I have a YouTube video on that as well. I don't, any reason why your volume profile area is set to 75%. I think that was just the default setting. I didn't change that. I don't really look too much at like value area low, value area high. I look a little bit at point of control. That's just where the most volume is built up typically. So that, but I don't have like a specific like price action strategy around value area high or low or anything like that. So that is not super important to me. I do look at it just, you know, for context, right? If we're expanding outside of previous daily ranges, or if we're consolidating inside, you can obviously see that from a candle chart as well, but I like to see it from a volume profile perspective with a candle chart, so I can see specifically where is the most volume built and transacted, right? Because that's where people are transacting. So for my personal strategy, I'm looking at supply and demand, and I'm looking at you know, volume profiles just for context with supply, understanding levels of supply and demand. But you know, the majority of my trading is just purely from reading the tape, reading the order flow in real time. I'm just looking at that stuff to add like confluence and context and understanding like where the market's at overall. That's super important to have context and key locations, right? Yes, way more. Togus said, so you care more about high volume nodes and low volume nodes rather than value area. Absolutely, right? I want to see where price is moving aggressively and where it's slow, and I want to see where volume is built, right? And I want to see where it's not, because if if price moves quickly up through an area and there's not a lot of volume transacted there, that just tells me that's an area where buyers are really aggressive, and I can see that on the tape, right? And if we're in a trending market condition, then I may look for any pullbacks into those aggressive buyers so I can be a dip buyer there, or seller, vice versa, right? For continuation. Similar, but more precise, I would say, to what people do with ICT as far as looking for consolidations and then, breakouts, that consolidations and reversals that leave like a fair value gap, right? Is a price action way of trying to identify something similar, but without actually understanding what's really going on in the market auction, right? And I'm not saying that's bad, right? There's people that are really good at that. That's okay. I'm not talking down on anyone. There's, whatever works for you. I personally like to just kind of strip everything away and just look at the actual market auction, the true mechanics that are moving the market, and do my analysis and trade executions for that. I have high confidence in my trades that way. So it's that. So here's a big thing, right? You want to have a repeatable system that you understand and have high conviction in, because that understanding and conviction is what's going to give you the confidence to cut small losses when it's not working and hold big winners when it is. And that's ultimately what it comes down to. Lockdown said, so is a fair value gap or a low or high volume area based on your analysis? I don't understand the question. Nothing is like 100%. So DBoss said a good question. You learned volume profile stuff from Fabio and deep charts, which is amazing, by the way, but I still overthink it. Stop overthinking it. He said low volume note and high volume stuff sometimes gets disrespected. Yeah, nothing's 100%, right? That's why I'm just analyzing it for context and location and understanding, and then all my actual trade execution and management comes by what's actually happening in the order flow real time on the tape, which I'm looking at on Bookmap, right? So those things give me context and location. That doesn't mean I take it every time it happens. I take it only when that context and location happens and I see stuff in the real-time market auction reading the tape that gives me confirmation to take that. So it's not one or the other for me, it's both. But even still with that, there's always, we're just reading what's happening now in the present moment. And that's giving us a percentage likelihood of what could happen next, but that doesn't mean it's guaranteed. There's always new information coming into the market, and it's just a probabilities game. We don't know, right? So even though we have a high probability setup with high probability confirmations, that doesn't guarantee what the next thing that will happen in the market is, because the next actions that people will take is totally unpredictable. I mean, we can have a percentage likelihood based on the things that we see, right? Because there are very repeatable patterns and things that happen in the market. But if some new information comes out, large new participants come in against what we just confirmed, then that can totally take us out. And that's why we have a stop loss. That's okay. Nothing's 100%. So stop overthinking it and just accept that you're not gonna. I think people overthink it because they think they should be right every time. And so when they're not right every time, they're like, they think they're doing something wrong. No, that's the game, right? You're not ever right every time. You can be perfectly right on all of your trade execution, confirmation, everything, and still take a loss. Taking a loss doesn't necessarily mean the setup was wrong or the trade, was wrong. You just need to be consistent over a long period of time and repeatable with, the type of setup that you take, the confirmations that you use for it, and your risk management for it. And then over time, you can, tweak that in ways that have a positive expectancy based on win rate and risk versus reward. That's it. It's really it. So market's about to open here. We're pretty much right in the middle. So I'm gonna be chilling here this morning. Ask questions, guys, and we'll make this educational. We'll stay very patient here this morning. Again, news coming out at 9:45. Market has already had a big up and down this week. We're right in the middle of the range that's developed since yesterday morning, right? Since that sell-off and recovery, we're just right in the middle of this high volume consolidation, essentially. So don't force anything that's not in the cards. Do you try to trade back to zero prints like Carmine does? Carmine has a great strategy for that. I don't look at the zero print stuff as much as he does, but I am aware of it. To me, it just kind of goes hand in hand with a intraday low volume node, right? Participants were super aggressive there, and not a lot of volume transacted there as price went through it. And so many times, once that can be viewed as like a path of least resistance almost, where price traded on one side very, very fast through there. So if we come to a point where there's a lot of resistance and we build a consolidation there and it's difficult for the market to continue to break through there, very likely we're going to go retest that area of low volume, which could be a zero print, an intraday low volume node, whatever. And in fact, my trade yesterday was a perfect example of that. So yesterday I took longs off 6,900 via SPY calls, and my target was both VWAP and a low volume node intraday, and I think there was also a zero print above, right? So it came to a point where there was yesterday, if I pulled up Bookmap, there was a massive, I could pull up a screenshot of it. I don't have my replay up, so you guys want to see what I saw yesterday? We got 2 minutes till the market opens here. We're in the middle of the range, so I'll show you guys this trade if you want, to show you what I saw to confirm it and took the setup. Take a snip here. So this is a screenshot from yesterday. And on this drop down, I had more stuff that added confluence to this 6,900, 6,905 area. I shared a recap on Instagram if you guys are interested in that. Maybe I'll make a long format recap of it. But basically, right here, after that whole drop down yesterday, we did not see any kind of significant buying like this. We saw a massive amount of buying flip in. And so once I saw that, and then on this pullback on the heat map here, you see a ton of passive buyers absorbing this pullback right here. I took it long, right? And that was a really nice win. Took it long there, and I targeted VWAP up here into the 6950s. And I scaled out some here. There was an intraday low volume node, and I saw all of this super aggressive buying here that was stalling for a while. So I scaled out some there. All right, market's opening there. Wow, here's some buying right off the get-go. So we're opening up now right into the towards the highs of this range that I talked about. Again, kind of on my end, first watching out for a failed breakout and just targeting a mean reversion, but this is looking pretty strong and aggressive here right off the get-go. This is looking pretty strong here. D-Boss asked what time frame I use to look at supply and demand levels. Hang on, guys. Watching what develops here. Sucker is moving fast today. Goodness gracious. All right, so pretty aggressive selling back down. We swept right up into that area around 70, 75. That's the same area I was looking for a failed breakout. That happened too quick for me, guys, in the first minute. We'll see if we get more pops where passive sellers defend. That area. Well, gosh darn, that was the setup right there, guys. I said the first thing I was looking was a failed pop over those 70s to 75s, and that sucker played in the first 90 seconds here this morning. I didn't catch it. That was too fast for me, guys. This is ES. It's somebody said, is this NQ? Yeah, it looks like NQ. It's moving fast this morning. No, this is ES, dude. Holy crap. I was literally watching for that exact setup, a failed breakout into the 75s to target a drop back down here. So that was a fast 10 points right there. And I did not catch it. It happened way too fast in like the first 60 seconds of the 9:30 bell there. So if we continue to see a very, very fast and volatile tape like this, be mindful of your position size, guys. You'll likely need wider stops in these conditions. And so, you know, anytime volatility is significantly increased, you need to mind your position size to keep your risk on your trades consistent. Understand that we're playing with wider price swings. And I'm literally like on a 30-second interval here on ES. So I like this offer here at the 70 on that pop, but I did not take it. Pull up some stuff here. I don't love how we kind of already dropped under VWAP here, down all the way down to 69.60. That was kind of already something that I'd be looking to target on that failed breakout. So yeah, I'm not loving that for fading this. We'll see. Wow. See more aggressive buying coming into these highs here around where this offer was sitting. Some large selling hitting right here. I like this large selling. I tried it short here at 78. Stop just over 80. Kind of looking for this to go pretty fast now. If this doesn't sell from here, I'll probably cut it. All right. I'm out. Didn't work. Staying back, staying patient now. Took about a 2-point exact loss on that. We'll see if it fails again. I liked how this, buying got weaker up here and we popped back, but a passive buyer obviously defended this little drop here. So it looked good initially. and it failed. We'll see if it comes back. And if we hold outside of this now, then we could be having a break to the upside. That second scenario that I talked about, actually breaking outside of this consolidation range. I took that back in again at 79. I like that failed break there. Go and break even immediately. I want to see this drop immediately. Looking for a break back under 70 now. There's a lot of volume built there. So if we can get break back down towards VWAP here, just under 70, that'll be nice. I'm break even at 79. I'm not going to hold this red. We're already getting the drop here. Looking like it ran out of gas. It might come stop me. Yeah, I'm out break even. So we got a strong bit of selling twice off that. That time I was up, 8 points there, 7-8 points, and whipped all the way back on me. I don't think I'll try that again. I gave it 2 chances there, but it seems like buyers are holding these dips and keep applying pressure to the high of this range. So maybe now time to just sit back and stay patient and see if we're gonna actually break out of here now. Unless I see something really good to take it again. Show you guys the fills here. I'm still watching this, so let me recap it here for you guys. Talk through this while we watch this at the same time. So what I saw here was, one, I was looking for failed pops up into this range here to target a drop back to the middle. We popped up here and I saw this aggressive buying into that zone and it didn't break out. And then we saw all of this aggressive selling stepping in, right? So I took it there and we got an initial like 5-point drop there for my entry. And that came all the way back and stopped me. Break for a 2-point loss there. And then I saw the same thing. We popped up here, all this aggressive buying, and then we saw that heavy selling coming back again a second time, right? So I tried it again right there, one more time. That time, again, both times we sold off 5+ points from my entry. And I think I was up 7 or 8 points here and moved my stop to break even, came back and stopped me break even. So 0 for 2 on trying that. Buyers are just buying the dips pretty relentlessly. There's too much momentum here coming into the highs of this range. That's okay. Technically on that trade, I was already up here. I was risking like 1.5 points above 80. So it was already up like 3 or 4 R, and I did not exit on that drop. Seeing this heavy selling, I really I really thought we would come down towards this VWAP level here. That's what I was targeting. I'm using Tradeovate, Sierra Chart, Bookmap, and Thinkorswim. These are all the trading tools that I'm using. We're popping these highs again. We'll see if we drop back again, but it's just tough to catch now, right? See how we keep hitting these highs and then dropping back. I still feel like it's gonna play. It's just kind of getting hard to catch here. There's too much buying momentum here in the first 15 minutes. We also have news coming out in 4 minutes. So that's another reason I'm gonna stay cash now. I was looking for this setup to be in and out before the 9:45 news. Could have taken on NQ. Yeah, I wasn't watching NQ because I have the stream stuff up. I normally have been pulling up NQ and ES at the same time. Just for kicks and giggles, what happened on NQ. Ah, yeah, it played on NQ. Look at these highs all the way down there to VWAP. So that setup would have hit target on NQ. Because the equivalent area where I was trying to catch it was here around 25,886 with a stop just over like 28,995, targeting back here under like 25,850. So target hit on NQ with that setup. I was looking at it on ES. I'm still looking for this failed pop, back down here, but I can't take it now, 3 minutes till the news. So if it drops from here now on the news, it is what it is. We'll stay patient and see what develops. What do you think of 15-point opening range breakout strategy for getting the previous point of control, for targeting the previous point of control? That's not a strategy that I look to repeat. I do have similar kind of like momentum type setups to what people with price action call like an opening range breakout type setup. I have similar setups that I look to trade with that, but I don't have a specific like price action strategy with a candle chart pattern based on the range, based on targeting the point of control. So if you have a strategy for that, then great. This thing's gonna come hit my target now after it got me out twice. No, just the overall context. Like I said, I'm first looking for kind of failed pops above this range, targeting drops back to the middle. But if we keep holding, like I said, the other scenario was if we get above these 75s and hold above these 75s-ish area, then I'll look for longs. I don't see great confirmations for that, but these drops are holding above there 1, 2, 3 times. Remember this zone I drew from this morning that was in there? Right? I was first looking for failed pops above that to target a drop back under it, but if we break above this area here and hold above it, then that's different. I don't see great confirmations to do that yet because I don't like how we're peeking our head above these highs and shooting back down. That was the setup that I was looking for in these conditions. And it played. I was up 5 points and I was up 7 or 8 points, and both times came back for a small loss, came back for a break even, came back one more time here. It is what it is. It really do be like that sometimes. We got the news coming out right now. Of course it's going to drop into my target right on the news. Of course it's going to do that. That's okay. Have you checked if I don't use TradingView. There's my target. Bam. So Came back one more time and then dropped into it on the news. So that's all right. The trade idea was good. I liked the trade idea. I liked the confirmations being the aggressive buying into offers at the highs that failed and then aggressive selling coming in. Fantastic. It just unfortunately whipped back and got me twice, and then it happened. So it is what it is. Stay back, stay patient, and wait here. It was tough, man. It was tough to try it a third time. Also, you know, minutes before the news, with the news coming out, you know, it could have shot either way. It's very, very much a coin flip at that point. Red Maroc asked, when price moves fast, who actually moves it? Buyers, institutions, or algos? It doesn't matter, really. At the end of the day, whether it's an algo, an institution, or a retail trader like you and me, you have to place an order in the market, and that's what we're looking at here. Aggressive buyers, aggressive sellers, passive buyers, passive sellers. So all of them. It's the whole, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter though, because everybody that participates has to place an order, and we're seeing the orders get placed. And that's, you know, that's the greatest edge. I'm not trying to guess who, what, or why. It doesn't really matter. This tool is called Bookmap. So a lot of aggressive buying coming in here. We're still just flirting right around this range that we saw from earlier. Obviously, the bubbles are delta bubbles, so showing me the difference between aggressive buyers and sellers. I don't have much of a plan right now. We're kind of just flirting in the middle for me. So I don't have much of a setup here right now. This was my favorite setup up here for this morning that I tried twice. Fortunately, it did work on the third time, the time that I was not in it. Buyers are staying very resilient. Aggressive buying is staying very resilient here. So we've kind of shifted this balance volume higher, which is interesting here. Show you guys my 30-minute here. Yeah. So see how we've kind of shifted this up here? Definitely, you know, buyers are doing their darndest to hold this higher low and keep volume and momentum moving higher. If that's the case, and we continue to hold that, then I'm looking at this area up here. It's just very whippy here, so it's a little challenging for me to try to catch it. But a lot of aggressive buying is just continuing to come in relentlessly. Let's take a look at NQ. What's going on with NQ? Same thing, kind of this is kind of a cleaner break and retest back above this VWAP level here. Still applying pressure back up to these highs. But yeah, look at this whipsaw range here, and this is what's making it a little challenging for me, and this is why I liked the setup that I was looking at was the failed highs up here back into the lows. But it's tough. This context is tough for me to chase like a breakout up here, being that we just keep kind of whipsawing up here. So like the risk versus reward and probability of doing so is not ideal. We're still, even though we're kind of pressing higher and grinding higher, we're still kind of in that type of action where, you know, fading the highs and lows is best, which is what my plan was going into this morning. Take a zoom out here on ES. But you can just see in the size of the delta bubbles here how much more large and aggressive buyers are here this morning. Which makes sense, you know, just looking at the volume profile, how we've continued to like press price higher, but we still have kind of that balance range. NQ kind of looks the same, how we have kind of this balance range up here shifting up at the highs. Kind of dropping back to the middle here. Point of control around 70 on ES, and NQ around 25, 855, which is both where we're, or 860, both like exactly where we're at right now. We're just kind of oscillating around the point of control. Nice catch, Damien. W. Nice catch. This type of action is definitely where, you know, I catch those failed highs and lows and cut them quick. You know, I don't like to get too greedy for just a massive reversal to the other side of the range. I like to catch that quick, high probability failed break of the highs back into the middle. Coming back into the lows of the session. Middle of this range overall since the pre-market, but coming back into the middle of the lows of this regular trading hour session here. I like to just zoom out sometimes, right? Especially after I've taken a loss and a break even. Have a miniature cool down, zoom out, what's going on here. I don't regret this trade setup. You know, I tried it even twice and unfortunately just got me on the timing. I think this was a good trade setup, good confirmations like I showed you guys. Unfortunately, it just kind of whipped back and forth until it put on the third time when I wasn't in it. That happens sometimes. The important thing is risk was managed well. Took a 2-point loss and a break even. I didn't rack up significant damage, right? That's nothing when you make 7, 10, 15 points regularly. NQ full short. We're consolidating, my man. Look at that. Actually, off this little trend line that I drew here, bounced again right off of it. It's important to not get ahead of ourselves and try to overanalyze what we think should happen or what will happen when, you know, the market is essentially balanced and consolidating here. There's no, in my opinion, not really much high probability reason to think one way or the other yet. Although it's starting to look more and more like a significant amount of buying has been occurring here this morning. And so that could build pressure one way or the other, to where if all this aggressive buying that's been occurring all morning fails and becomes trapped and we break down, that could, you know, accelerate a move down. However, if it continues as relentlessly as it has, then that could build pressure for a strong breakout back up into the highs above 26,000 on NQ and above 7,000 on ES. Interesting stuff. First 30 minutes this morning, pretty much a whipsaw back and forth. You can see just looking at this, right? So here's my trade attempts, -2, break even. Ugh, it's terrible. Right there. Third time we popped those highs, this is the time that it played, right? You can see this EMA, we're just consolidating around, right? Whipping back and forth. And look at this session, the volume profile, we're just building around there. So not a ton of edge here, in my opinion. These were the best short opportunities, in my opinion, earlier in the session for, you know, a drop back to the middle, which we did essentially get. We came just such a breath away from my target here on the second attempt and came all the way back from my break even. Unfortunate, just unfortunate, right? But now, okay, the wrong thing to do would be angry and frustrated about this and start over trading and blasting off trades in the middle when we're clearly seeing this form, right? We need to stay patient and see what develops. So here's starting to get a stronger breakdown now. Coming down towards VWAP now on ES. NQ also. NQ leading. You guys still hear me? I got an alert that OBS disconnected. You guys got me? Whoa. Aggressive bounce there. I don't really see any significant selling or offers appearing here. Just a lot of aggressive buying continuing to come into this, kind of retracing these sellers. Nothing happened here. Another fake out dip into the lows. Yeah, very, very whippy. We'll see if we reject under here. Very fast, very whippy. Turn off computer. I wouldn't fault you for that here. Let's see what NQ is doing. Relatively kind of weaker on NQ. Relatively kind of weaker. Let's see what happens here. I like how this is kind of relatively weaker on NQ. I took it short at 32 with a stop over 39 here, but I'm gonna go break even pretty fast if this doesn't continue this drop. Give it a second to breathe, but I like the weakness at the lows of this range. Kind of a nice drop now. Go and break even. Either we drop off this volume cliff here or we retrace back up into the middle. See if we get one strong drop here under 25.8. Oh, is it going to come back on me? Yep, I'm out break even. Son of a gun. So failed to drop off there, bounced back up in. No, not our day. Just whipping back up into the range again here. I liked the heaviness at the low. I was looking for a little break kind of in retest here. I caught it right at that pop at the 32s. And then I liked the heaviness into the lows. Again, I was up over 20 points there on NQ, which isn't that much, but held on for us to drop down under 25,800 and did not do it. But risk was managed tightly. I don't like being up 20 points and letting that go red, especially when I caught it pretty much right at the highs on that pop into the 30s, and we already dropped into the lows. And that's why I said pretty much either we go from here or we retrace back up, right? And that's why I moved my stop to break even. We didn't retrace, or sorry, we didn't break from there. We retraced back up. So that's why I took it off. Man, whippy. So what I liked here was looking at bookmap here was we had this structure from earlier where we were whipping in, right? And I liked how we broke under it and retested it up here once, twice. I caught it around here on this break, and then we had all this heavy selling into the lows. And when I see all that heavy selling coming into the lows, it's like, okay, if this doesn't break, then very good chance we're going to whip straight back up. And that's what we got. Very, very choppy. Would definitely exercise caution here, guys. Oh man, what a session. What are you guys watching? Are you guys watching more NQ or more ES? Let me know in the chat. I like this kind of aggressive selling as we popped back up into the range, but we're so much in the middle here, guys, that it's like, ugh, just whipping back and forth. NQ. Some ES. It looks like more people are actually watching NQ in here. Some GC. Yes. Yeah, it's definitely testing patience here for sure. NQ and Bitcoin, NQ. Yeah, I liked the mean reversions. Tried it on ES. Didn't work. Then worked without me. I liked the weakness on NQ that we were seeing. So took a little bit of a preemptive stab at the breakdown under this range. And obviously that stopped me break even as well. So chilling. I liked how NQ started to lead lower and was looking kind of relatively weaker there. However, yeah, we whipped straight back up. Mean reversion continues to be the condition. Bitcoin is boring. I don't really watch Bitcoin as far as trading it. I have like a price checker just as far as like what it's trading at. But I don't trade Bitcoin. I don't own any Bitcoin. I know a lot of people. Do you guys short term trade Bitcoin, or do you just like buy and hodl? I feel like NQ is still looking relatively weak to me here, despite ES kind of large buying strength back at the highs. Bitcoin is a choppy market. difficult to short-term trade Bitcoin. Wow, look at that buying that just hit the highs there on ES. That is significant. Look at that. That is definitely the most significant aggressive buying we've seen all day coming into the highs here. Nothing so significant on NQ that I'm seeing. Definitely some large aggressive buying coming into this area here. But look at that on ES. Massive buying hit the highs here. And ES is relatively stronger overall. That's either going to lead to a breakout or a really big, nasty mean reversion. Testing your patient. It's not market makers, it's not anything. It's just the auction that's going on right now. We've had a big up and down week already, and so it's very choppy. We're basically trading inside this whole range from yesterday, from that afternoon little V-shaped bounce. That was a large look at this passive seller here at the 85s on the heat map, right where that large aggressive buying into it was. Your strong conviction is to the downside. Why is that, Damien? Why is your strong conviction to the downside? Curious. Just because of the downside we had yesterday? Is it because of the action we're seeing today? NQ made a relatively lower high there, and ES is still just broke the high of the session and still applying more pressure to the highs. VX is coming off, right? VX is really coming off, which is taking a lot of pressure, downside pressure off the indices. So VX has come off substantially. It's down 1% on the day, but from the highs, you know, VX got up to 20 in the pre-market. Looks like it's all the way back under 19. So that's taking a lot of pressure off the indices. ES is looking relatively strong here. Strong convictions down there. It's lost some important levels and completed a successful retest. On which one, ES or NQ? Looking at pretty much any higher time frame chart, to me, it seems like bulls are still mostly in control. I would say a slight bullish leaning, but the last 4 to 8 weeks have been very up and down. We've continued to make higher highs and higher lows though. Let's see, are we now finally holding above this area? after that really large buying. Remember, that was that same area from earlier. Buyers finally going to have the juice to hold above that and go break out now. The next thing I have to the upside on ES is those highs that we made yesterday afternoon around the close, around 7,000. So that would be an important area for sellers to reject or buyers to break above. NQ is still looking relatively weak. It's not looking like it's got the energy for this move that ES has yet. But still holding higher lows. I don't really see much reason to try to continue going against it. Right? It seems like there's a lot of aggressive buying still just relentlessly coming in. J-Rod. Matt is just playing. I'm just observing, guys. I'm staying patient now. I've taken a small loss and 2 break evens, so I just am staying patient. I don't see much that's super, super high quality right now at this point. I'm waiting, and if it does, then I'll be very interested. We do have our giveaways coming up. If you guys want to run the giveaways soon, smash the like button. Let's see where we're at. Personal Vault asked a great question about how do you practice tactical patience. We're living an example of it right now, right? Living an example. I'm waiting for something to really stand out as far as a key opportunity, one way or the other, right? I don't quite see that. So very much tactical patience right now. We're seeing a lot of aggressive buying come into the highs, but so far that has continued to fail every time, and we've whipped right back down to the lows or the middle. There hasn't been so much large aggressive selling at the lows, and we've whipped straight back up to the highs every time. But look at this, zooming out, look at all that buying at the highs now. That is a lot. So if that fails, that could put a hurting when those buyers get trapped and we start moving back down. Saying if. I think what's maybe making me a little hesitant now is, like, this was the setup I tried to take earlier, was the trapped aggressive buyers at the highs targeting a drop back in, and I already tried it twice earlier and kind of got chopped out both times. So I think I'm a little more trigger shy now on it, even though I still like it, but you know, it's kind of just mixed signals here now, because we're kind of holding above this zone. You know, aggressive buying is just relentlessly coming in today. And so that setup that was A+ earlier now looks like a B quality. And so I'm not really down to take a B quality setup after I've already taken 2 break evens and a loss today. Let's see where we're at. $154. I think we can get 170, guys. 170 likes to run giveaways. What other questions that you guys got? Watching you makes you resist the temptation to click buy or sell. Good. If there's not a good quality setup, Don't take it. It's kind of mixed signals for me because I like what I'm seeing up here for this to be a failed breakout as far as look at this. We had really large aggressive selling get filled into this offer here, passive seller on the break of the highs. And then we had 1, 2, 3 more failed attempts at the highs. That's something that I like to see is large absorption and then, you know, multiple lower highs from weaker buying. That's something that I like to see as far as possibly going short for a mean reversion or, you know, target a drop back into the lows. I do like that. But the fact that we are still kind of holding over this range here, we've kind of already done this multiple times today and just broken the highs again and again. It's a little, it's just kind of iffy, 50-50 for me, right? Yeah, if you guys haven't already, make sure you smash the like and subscribe if you want to tune in for live trading every day of the week here in Chart Fanatics Live. Here with me on Fridays. I have never checked out anything on TradingView, so I can't speak to that. Somebody asked, have you checked out the volume profiles and stuff on TradingView? I don't think, I could be wrong, but I don't think they have like market by order data on there. And I don't think it would be as great to use stuff on there for order flow. Wow, look at the selling now coming in Q right around point of control, right in the middle of this volume range. Looking at volume profiles, let's look at ES kind of the same thing. Right around point of control here, right in the middle of this volume range. So if I'm going to take a setup like this in these conditions, guys, I definitely don't want to like chase these little drops to the downside. If anything, the opportunity to fade it is when we see large absorption like this and then fade it on failed pops where we have weaker buying like we saw here, right? Because the risk versus reward is very good up there. But when we see these quick whips down, a lot of people are like, oh, this is it. And they want to sell into it and it whips back and their stop's too tight and they get stopped out and they just get chopped up again and again on that. So you want to be very cautious. Like if you're not positioned in it from a failed break of the highs, you know, your risk versus reward down here becomes way, way, way less and not ideal in the middle of the range. Even though it's tempting, you see like the aggressive selling come in, you're like, you know, this is it, right? But that might eventually work and you might eventually catch that. But how many times will it fail? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, depending on how tight your stop is. Chasing the move with a tight stop is like the worst thing that you can do in these conditions. Again, I did like this up here. I just kind of lacked confidence in it. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, we're back in the middle now, so back in the middle now. Let's see where we're at. Where we at? Nice. We're over 170. Great job, guys. If you didn't already, you can still smash the like, but it's a good time in the middle of this balance range to run giveaways, count giveaways. What do you think, guys? Dropping back into the lows now. All right, so enter in the chat one time and one time only if you want to be entered for this giveaway, if you enter it more than once, you will not be drawn. Okay? Enter it one time and one time only. And it's going to be fast, guys, so you got to be fast here. Exclamation point order flow. Enter it one time in the chat. Dropping back into the lows here. All right, we're gonna close it in just a second. One time and one time only in the chat, exclamation point order flow. All right, Anthony, let's go ahead and close it. Let me get the list, you guys. Some heavy selling coming into the lows here. We'll see if it sets up another trap or if we break down from here. Whoa, look at that. Right into that 25.8 level. All right, got the list, guys. Right in the first one. Loser 06J, are you in the chat? Let me know. Today he is a winner. Today you are a winner, loser 06J. Let me know, are you here? Let me know in the chat, are you here, loser 06J? There he is. All right, so in order to claim this, guys, head over to the Chart Fanatics Discord. To claim that, go to the giveaways tab there in the Chart Fanatics Discord. Congratulations on the Apex account. Let's run it again. Bino Gurung 6987. Let me know. Are you here in the chat? There he is. Congratulations. Funded next challenge. Again, head over to the Chart Fanatics Discord if you'd like to claim that. Follow the instructions there in the giveaways tab. We got one more. Meh, DI, and Q. Let me know, are you here? Is he here? Is he here? He or she? Let me know in the chat. Give them just a minute here. Everybody's always ready for the respin, right? If they didn't win, everybody's like, not here, respin. Let me know in the chat. Are you here? Going once. Going twice. Going 3 times. All right, he's out. We're running it. X3BX 3EX 3A. Did a random number generator generate your username? Let me know if you're here. There he is. Congratulations. Hey. There we go. That's a Tesla robot. Very nice, very nice. So I liked this dip under 25.8 that recovered. I took that long while we were running that, but I'm out here on this break above VWAP. Type up a recap for you guys. I liked the break under 25.800 that recaptured with really aggressive buying. So I took that long and then just targeted a retracement back up above VWAP here above 25.860 on NQ. Yeah, it was essentially the same thing we've been looking at all day, which was the mean reversion. And I liked how we dipped just under the regular trading hours lows and recaptured that. So I took that on the recapture there from 25.802.75 and scaled out here, exited all out here. I didn't scale out, just one entry, one exit at 25,875. Show you guys what I saw. You can see how we had this sweep under the lows with that super aggressive selling. And then look at this. And then a higher low here. Look at the relative size of aggressive selling here. You caught that on ES. Nice. So ES looked good, but I just like the speed there for kind of a fake out dip on NQ. Just they play so much faster. Although it did work on ES as well. But this is one of my favorite patterns. If you guys want this setup, right? This is one of my favorite patterns. You guys want this order flow setup? This is pure gold. People that I coach with all the time, this is one of our absolute favorite setups here. So we're looking at the extreme range of that balance range where all that volume was built, the lows of all that volume, where there's just a cliff of volume below there, right? Mean reverting conditions was down there under 25,800, right? That was kind of the same extreme that I talked about. That was the same extreme that I talked about in the plan there. So I'm going to give you guys, basically this is my favorite setup. This is like a setup confirmation. This is like an ATM machine for me. Okay. So on the failed break of that, look, here's that 25,800. On the failed break of that 25,800, this is what we saw here. Large aggressive selling, and look at the passive buyer sitting there too. Large aggressive selling into that. Then the immediate reaction with that, and again, this was that area where we had, if I draw over here, that bell curve of volume is where it tapered off right here. Right there. We immediately recaptured that. Look at the aggressive buying that recaptured there. Then sellers tried to break it down a second time, but look at the delta of aggressive sellers on the second attempt to break down under there. Do you see how that's weaker? And then as we recaptured, again, look at the size of aggressive delta from buyers there. That's like, to me, that is like the 1, 2, 3 punch, bam, right? Rest in peace, everybody that sold the lows. We're smoking back up to the middle. That is as A+ as it gets for me right there for that fake out bottom reversal. Marco, if you're in here, this is for you. This is for you, Marco. We've been talking about this. I've been trying to give Marco some entry precision stuff, right? Super aggressive buying. So let's think about this, right? Let's think about this. This is the lows of an extreme range, right? The lows of an extreme range, right? A ton of aggressive selling comes into it and gets absorbed by passive buyers, right? So we have passive buyers absorbing once. Look at that on the heat map there, that on the heat map there. Okay? So a ton of really aggressive sellers came into the lows trying to break down the low of a range. And then the immediate reaction was they were absorbed and super aggressive buying came in. So think about that. Just put yourself in the position here, right? Put yourself in the position. You just sold into a breakdown of a key level and the immediate reaction is you're underwater. You're immediately red on that, right? So you're immediately like, oh shit, you know, I just bought a fake out, or I just shorted a fake out. And then it comes back one more time. We see a ton of aggressive buying, comes back one more time, and there's weaker selling. What are you thinking if you went short right there? Here's my chance to get the F out, right? Here's my chance to get the F out. And then they start market ordering, right? Buying to cover. And then everybody sees that and triggers a ton of aggressive buying there. So, right? Absorption, aggressive buying trapping them, weaker selling pullback, everybody hits the oh shit button, buys back up. Make sense? I only traded one contract on that. It was a 1460 profit there from 25,802 to 25,875. Right? This is, I call this like a 1-2-3 punch combo. Like that 1-2-3 combo on a fake out dip is just like sellers getting KO'd at the lows. Love that for you guys. There you go. If you guys want that, I'll drop that screenshot in there in the Chart Fanatics Discord for you guys to review. All right, guys. So I'm looking at the volume profile range that developed here. Send it. And actually, I'm looking at my 30-minute chart now, and you can see how the value area low aligns with that as well. So you pair those two with a volume profile with a fake out dip. No, I'm not still long. We already bounced above my target. My target was VWAP kind of towards 28.5. Took it a little bit longer into these highs, and I'm out. You could hold, you could scale and hold for a break of new highs, right, to the top of the range. And that may happen, and I'm okay with leaving profit on the table if that happens. This may go blast all the way through the roof, through the high of this balance range. All good. I don't care. Caught my piece. Whew. Taking a breath, guys. That was a up and down one today, right? Couple break evens, a small loss, sitting back, waiting, sitting back, waiting, sitting back, waiting. Finally saw that develop. Bam, lights out. We're done, right? That's a done for the day. That was a little mentally taxing for me to take a loss, take a couple break evens, wait for that setup to develop, take it. That's a one and done for me, and I'm out. It looks like several other people saw something similar, whether it was order flow like I just showed you. To me, you know, you can catch, people call it like a wick test, right? On that 30-minute wick from 8:30 a.m. this morning. So you could have called that like a wick test, but you wouldn't have had nearly as high of precision and confidence and confirmation to take it, in my opinion, without seeing the order flow. Yeah. I would review and study this, what just happened, and the screenshots are there in the Discord for you guys. Marco likes liquidity grab setups as well, and I'm going to teach him some of this about order flow to help him out with precision. Not that he's already doing good. He doesn't need my help, right? He's already doing great. But it's nice when you can add some other confluences that give you more confidence and more precision. This thing's going to the moon now. Holy. Yeah. I didn't hold it for that, guys. I'd love to sit here and tell you I did. No, I cut it. I cut it at my target back above VWAP. Yep. All right, guys. That's going to be a wrap for me. Thanks for tuning in. If you don't already, check out Instagram. I will film a recap for this if you guys would like to see as well, with the exact stuff that I saw for this trade. And thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys back next Friday. So if you have any questions, anything else, shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'm very responsive there to helping people out. Sound good, guys? Again, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. We've got live traders in here every day, Monday to Friday. So highly recommend checking that out. Thanks, guys. Peace.